I am ready to say things about the book. I'm just trying to get energy up. That's it.
All right, well, pump it up.
All right. Wait, before we get into this, what was the kin?
What was that?
Pump it up. Got it.
Huge pause.
I got it.
Hello? Hello? Oh, whapa. You know, Sneep, the legendary producer.
Sneep.
Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 15.
Excited to hear what my name is today.
I'm Eric VC, and as always, I'm joined by my favorite Sam and Will, Adam and Dave. Say hello, Adam.
Sam and Will.
Who the heck are Sam and Will?
Who are Sam and Will?
Sam and Will are your strong and weak linebackers.
Oh.
Together, we are the VC boys, and for this episode, we read chapters 19 through 24 of A Crown of Swords, surpassing the midpoint of the book.
This shorter book.
Ooh.
We will start with our chapter summary and view from Dragonmount, followed by a conversation about our favorite moments of these 6 chapters and what shook your Willow. We'll discuss further our preeminent Aes Sedai and Cadsuane the Great, followed by a discussion of the Forsaken with Fear of the Dark, and then on to our Bowl Seekers with the Searchers. Then we'll move on to Happy Trails and wrap up, as always, with our Coplin of the week and who leveled up. So let's move on to our view from Dragonmount. Chapter 19, Diamond and Stars with the Aes Sedai glyph. We start this chapter through Morana's point of view, and Morana and Anora are descending the steps down to the basement of the Sun Palace along with Cadsuane. They're heading to Baron Karuna's rooms, and as they walk down the stairs, we get the legend of Cadsuane Malydrin, who seems to be a near mythic character of the White Tower, as we discussed in our previous episode. The group is eventually joined by Dagion, Bera, and Karuna. Then Karuna and Bera enter. Cadsuane reveals that she is somewhat familiar with the situation with the Aes Sedai and the Wise Ones in the Aiel.
The situation?
Cadsuane then grills the others to update herself on the state of the world. The Aes Sedai who've sworn fealty to Rand have concluded there was no loophole through which they could ignore their oath to Rand, and the overall purpose of this section is to give us an idea of the force of Cadsuane. Then we cut to Min, who enters Rand's apartments, and he's smashed a mirror along with sundry of other things that are scattered throughout the room. He's just learned of the death of Herod Fell.
And also the force of his promise.
Min further reveals that Colavir has hung herself, just as Min foresaw.
Yep.
We then get a romance novel scene between Min and Rand before we finally cut to Cadsuane, who is considering how she can influence Rand.
I'm glad it wasn't.
She thinks she may kill Elida because the new Amyrlin has made her job a lot more difficult. Which takes us to chapter 20, Patterns Within Patterns with the Forsaken glyph.
Scene.
We join Savannah and her cadre of wise ones who can channel Mahara, Alaris, Mayra, Somarin, Rial, Tion, and Belinda. It's a whole huge group of them. What a lovely mess they are. Savannah is trying to convince the group to stay in the wetlands as they use the box she was given by the stranger in the prologue to the Lord of Chaos. They use the cube, and a man called Kadar's voice speaks to them from the heavens, describing the cube as a call box.
Look at me, but you can't see me.
Kadar asks if she has Rand in a manner which indicates he's aware that they don't. He tells Savannah to have her wise ones continue to channel into the cube, and he will meet them. Kadar then appears with a beautiful woman named Mycia, who Samarin determines is strong in the power. The two approach but maintain a small distance from Savannah and her wise ones. Kadar says he will give Savannah the thing that can control Rand when Savannah has him. Kadar then reveals his Angreal can control Rand once he is subdued, but not subdue him on its own. He goes on to say he wishes to remain hidden from Rand until he is secured. Tiana asks Kadar for proof of his promises, and Kadar has Mycia manipulate the cube to impress them. Savannah then asks Mycia if Mycia can train her wise ones to travel, and Kadar indicates she can't, but for a price, he can provide them with travel boxes. We then cut to something watching Kadar and Mycia, who we discover are Samael and Grendel. The Watcher has access to the true power,
here travel
which
boxes.
seems different from the one power.
I want the...
It's
something new.
It's a one power
Why
from the
doesn't
Dark
Rand-
Lord, right? It's a whole new dark power. Samael tells Grendel that he was not responsible for Rand's kidnapping. He thinks Missana had a hand in it, and maybe Demandred or Semirog. Samael and Grendel banter over whether his plans for the Shido are wise. He says that small increases in chaos are as important as large, further reinforcing the possibility of him being the Lord of Chaos. Grendel threatens Samael that if he calls her Mycia again, she will kill him, and the Watcher seems to feel fear either of them killing each other.
Yep. Because one would die.
Chapter 21, Swoven Night, with Matscliff. Matt moves through the streets of Ebu Dar on Swoven Night and has just escaped a robbery attempt. It's the same day we last saw Matt, and the dice are tumbling loudly in his head. Matt enters the Wandering Woman and meets Birgitta in his room. He finally recalls the day he blew the horn and saw her and discovers exactly who she is.
Not only her, he saw a bunch of other people.
He did. The other Hunters of the Horn, yeah. Or the other
Hawkwind.
Heroes of the Horn is the word I'm looking for.
Birgitta reveals that she has some idea of what Matt has become and asks him to keep her secret, and she will keep his. She invites Matt to the common room to continue the conversation, where we assume that she's going to broach the mission that she's been given by Elaine and Nynaeve. Right. And
you know what?
And off
really
they go.
Bugs me. This is like this is a conversation I would want to hear the most, is Matt and Birgitta talking whilst drunk.
I have a feeling this won't be the last time they do these sorts of things.
You're right. This absolutely would be an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so upset that it did not happen because we've been waiting this entire time, and they had a little conversation. But
a little bit of the peril.
Get them out and where they're comfortable.
Yeah, and
they
clearly these two
men,
also, they
women.
consume a lot of alcohol during this conversation, so they get nice and toasty.
Well, I like the fact that they're like, I'll have one jug of wine. And Matt's like, I'm gonna have 2 jugs of wine.
I wonder what would
come
like
if
Matt would just like not just the the old tongue stuff that he goes into, but like if he would just start spouting stuff off from his memories that she would totally understand and get because she's been there and done that.
Right. These two, I can see these two becoming great friends because they share history with each other for sure.
Yeah.
That Matt never lived.
I really hope you're right that we get more of it.
Yeah. Cut to Nynaeve, whose weather sense is telling her that there is a terrible storm coming. So Matt's dice are rolling in his head and the heavens are thundering above Nynaeve. She sits locked up with Tom and Julian and Avienda. As Nynaeve's narrative runs, we learn that Avienda has stopped wearing Rand's bracelet until he gives one to Elaine. The group argues over the plan to have Birgitta convince Matt to help them find the bowl. They've also received a letter that Matt gave Tylan to pass on to them. Avienda mentions the situation with Carradine. Elaine then suggests that they use the power to disguise themselves and go in search of proof that Jacob Carradine is a dark friend. Tom and Julian now know how the women can come and go as they please from the palace because she's just suggested that they use the one power to disguise themselves.
While she's hammered.
And as she's intoxicated from the alcohol that Birgitta is consuming.
I think in these chapters there were so many points that I wanted to pick for my Willow, because there's just so many.
There are a lot of small things that we learn, right? There are a lot of little tiny things that are significant because Elaine says that this shouldn't happen, that it doesn't happen to the other warders. And then Brigitte suggests, well, all the other warders are the opposite gender from the Aes Sedai.
Right.
So maybe it's a gender thing.
Maybe this is different. No big deal.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, also Nynaeve is just there nude. In a different person's body.
I mean, she's not.
Oh,
she's
she's topless.
Decorated that way.
No. It's so funny because he points out, but it's a different person's body.
Right.
Well, that we don't know. We have no idea whose body how that works, actually, precisely how that works. Brigitte then enters and tells the group that she has information for them. She tells Nynaeve and Elaine that Matt will help them the following day if they apologize and thank him for rescuing them from the Stone of Tyr. Matt has been harboring this aggravation over the fact that he never got an apology for rescuing these women from the Stone of Tyr for books upon books.
Or a proper thank you for that matter, yeah.
Oh, I have so much.
Brigitte suggests that they owe more than an apology to Matt given the circumstances he freed them from, and Aviendha says that they have toe to him. While Nynaeve seethes, Elaine asks what she must do to fulfill her toe obligation.
Is anyone curious what this bargain was? Apparently it didn't go well.
Folk?
Yeah.
I anticipate that we're going to get there. But they've obviously sacrificed something
pretty significant
to
and that seems like a big thing.
Dave, I had that written down. It seems like a huge deal. The Sea Folk have just been sitting at. They should be something that's paid attention to the most in this book, I think, and they're not being.
They're not. Well, Rand just has no use for him, it seems.
Well,
they're not in my prophecy.
You say this book. I mean, the last book, there's probably the same case.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is another one of those things that gets alluded to, and we're just sitting with bated breath awaiting
because
what exactly happened.
Egwene's going to find out about it, and she's not going to be happy with whatever it is that happened.
None of them are really thrilled with the bargain that they've struck. That takes us to chapter 22, Small Sacrifices, with the Aes Sedai glyph.
Small pleasures.
Aviendha and Brigitte go off to see if they can gain any proof that Jacob Carradine is a dark friend. Elaine and Nynaeve apologize to Matt, but not before Nynaeve almost wrestles him to the ground.
Typical Nynaeve.
They then promise not to shout or belittle him or give him orders. They also say that they won't leave the palace without informing him of their destination, and they will listen to his advice. They will also accept his bodyguards. Matt then asks them what they are looking for, and they tell him about their search for the Bowl of Winds. Matt agrees to assist and provide protection for Nynaeve and Elaine, and then they tell him that he will need to move into the palace, and the dice stop rolling in Matt's head.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Strange spot for the dice to stop rolling.
Yeah, except it's going to be something crazy with Tylan. It's going to be some crazy Tylan thing.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I didn't even really think about that, but...
that was brought up there because it was like, Tylan is the one that picked this room out for you.
Well, we know of Tylan's infatuation with Matt. Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, she picked it out and it's right down the road.
It's down the hall.
Just down the hallway. Yeah.
She's probably got a secret passage to his room.
Right.
He's going to traipse in the middle of the night.
With her. I thought it had to do with the fact that the dice were like, this is the bargain you needed to make.
I didn't either. Girls. I thought it had to do with the girls, but that's a good point.
Yeah, maybe Tylan is the thing. Ugh.
I mean, it could.
She's an attractive older woman.
It absolutely could also have to do with the bargain that he struck with the girls.
Seems sloppy.
So the girls leave the room and run into Satel and Nan, and she basically accuses them of being runaways.
Hussies.
She also describes something called slowing, which apparently they're familiar with because they're surprised that she knows the term, even though Sam and Will, we've never heard this term mentioned before. So apparently slowing is something, I guess it has to do with the aging process. Elaine then wonders if Satel might have been to the tower just before Satel says she knows some women who can help them around 50. One of them is called Rihanna Corley. And that takes us to chapter 23, next door to a weaver, with the Wheel of Time story glyph. Satel Anan leads Nynaeve and Elaine to this circle of women. Upon entering the house, they meet Rihanna, who suggests the circle's operation is quite clandestine. Rihanna is quite strong in the power and apparently equal to the strength of Sheriam. The group of circle women shield Nynaeve and Elaine and inform them that if they are to be assisted, they must obey this group's rules. They are then grilled on the geography and protocols of the tower to verify their tower credentials. After their grilling, Nynaeve asks the women to help them find the Bowl of Winds. Then Egwene tries to convince them of her title. Nynaeve backs her claims and story, but the group of women dismiss them as liars and threaten to expose them if they stay in the city. Which takes us to our final chapter 24, The Kin, with the Aes Sedai glyph again. The women of the Kin discuss what has just happened amongst themselves with Nynaeve and Elaine. Rihanna and Barrowen watch Nynaeve and Elaine leave through a window. We learn that the rumor of Logain and the Red Aja have reached the Kin. Then Serenia Vostavan enters to inform them that Kali has died by the One Power, according to Samiko. We then cut to Nynaeve and Elaine walking away. Nynaeve acknowledges to herself that given they did not find the bowl through the Kin, she would have to apologize to Elaine for leading her on this stray mission. Elaine asks Nynaeve how old Rihanna looked to her. Elaine then explains to Nynaeve that women who can channel begin slowing between the ages of 20 and 25. Elaine seems to be making a point of the woman's age just as Elaine is hit on the head by something and falls to the ground. They're accosted by a long-nosed woman and a man in an embroidered silk vest. Nynaeve sees a blunt stoned arrow on the ground and realizes that the same thing must have barely hit her that hit Elaine. She channels and the would-be abductors flee. After she regains herself, Elaine suggests that there's only one way to determine if the Kin know where the Bowl of Winds is, and Nynaeve is not thrilled about this suggestion. All right, Adam, what shook your willow?
Mine is the fact that Elaine is just trying to get Nynaeve to talk about what's going up with the ages of these women's faces.
I call it
just the faces are aging. These women and their faces aging.
People?
These ladies and their faces. And she's basically saying this is...
I was about to say the ladies of the night.
People.
You people?
Those people. Those ladies and their faces people.
Yeah.
Is Rod Stewart going to come into this conversation now?
From who they are.
Right, from wherever they come. Anyway.
The Kin.
Yep.
Little short,
yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out
if
it has to do with the slowing that they're talking about, and what exactly that would mean entirely. I am not 100% sure what she was actually trying to get at there. It might be the fact that these are people that once had the power stronger than they do now, and maybe they're just getting older.
Do we have any instances where women, other than those who have been sliced, or what is it?
Severed?
Severed, thank you.
Sliced and diced.
Right, yes.
Tomatoes.
Yes, cuisined. Do we have any?
I like cuisined. Could you
please part of Cuisinart, but not really.
Yes, my potato.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have any evidence of any other women whose powers have diminished?
I don't.
No, I don't think that's a thing.
Well, that's what I wonder as they get older. Obviously, their faculties probably suffer. But I'm sure they do.
In these
physically, your body's going to suffer. Mentally, you're probably going to deteriorate. But I'm not saying those are two different things, and their power deteriorating.
No. I'm not talking about their power.
They talk about when they get older that they kind of just disappear.
Well, that is exactly in the narrative. The citation is that that there's no evidence of Aes Sedai losing their faculties as they get older. But then
I thought they were saying there's no evidence of them losing their power, strength.
No.
Okay.
It was mental acuity, and then there was the realization. Well, nobody's actually, Aes Sedai go off to die. It's so weird.
Yeah, they're like cats. They go off on their own.
Yeah,
They go out to pasture.
So maybe they do, but it doesn't happen until later, and no one sees it. So they don't lose. They don't lose their minds, and we don't have any evidence of them losing their power. So I don't think that these women have lost their power. I think they're all, the strength that they were. And there's one of them who's really powerful.
Yeah.
And
that
annoying.
Which is weird, but we'll talk about that. We've got a whole section on that. So
yeah.
So my Willow moment of the week is Nynaeve and her wonderful disposition, refusing to apologize here at the end of the chapter, while Elaine agrees with Avienda over what needs to be done with regard to Matt.
I wonder if she's got wisdom teeth coming in.
That's chapter 21.
Because she's so cranky, like there's something going on.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't understand her problem with Rand.
With Rand?
I'm sorry, not Rand. With Matt, pardon me.
I feel like he's like the yin to her yang.
Yeah.
Because
All right.
he's in many ways he's like her, but in male form.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, I'm like, what am I? Chopped liver over here?
Chopped liver.
I don't get to.
You're queased. You're queased.
I've been
I was
queased out of the
queasing.
conversation.
You've been queasoned.
Oh, man, I thought Shook Your Willow was bad or Get Randy, but queased.
It's like Julian, except it's Cuisinarted
No,
instead.
It's like I need to.
You have to say it like this.
No, that's gross. Now
The whole thing's gross.
Now you're
I feel like I
making
need
me
to take
feel
a
sick.
bath in salt water with
Okay.
steel wool.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. That's how much I need to scour that off my skin.
that's worse than whatever.
Now
the
I'm
word
now
is.
I'm
Now
all
I'm
of a
thinking
sudden in
about
the
that,
movie
and that's
Saw.
horrible.
I was gonna say it's like you're in
what's going on
Hellraiser.
here?
Like it's it's
That's
you know,
reminding me of being
Halloween
little and learning
time.
how to ride a bike and being scared that if I got my ankle caught in the chain, that it would turn into spaghetti.
Oh,
What?
oh,
Why would you think
Yeah.
such a thing?
Dave, watch out your Willow.
Well,
was a
it wasn't Adam's ankle. I'll tell you that much.
Adam's ankle.
My Willow was kind of let's call it a group package. It's whoever this watcher in the woods is,
Right.
and then the flex or whatever whatever the powery thingy, whatever this is that's going on, the true power.
Oh,
that
true source.
true source. Yeah,
Yes.
the true source. Who is this masked man? And
Who is this masked man?
exactly, and it's the man behind the curtain. And what's going on here? Because so this person is, while hiding, is spying on some very powerful people, not just the Forsaken, but also the Aiel that can channel. So there's some power on that side. And then there's the Forsaken power also, which is clearly greater than, the peons, that can channel. But those people can do for the other people, the normal mortals. So, I mean, who is this person? Because I feel they have to be pretty significantly strong or important or what have you, because you're not going to risk.
What have you?
If let's say this person gets discovered, someone sees them, they're going to have enough strength to retaliate against whoever it is that they're spying on, or be able to get out of there in a hurry. So who could that possibly be?
Whoa, how did we go from what is this power that he has to who is this?
Well, it's all because I think the power has to come from the power is connected to who it is. So my guess is it would have to be one of the Forsaken, because if this true power is the Dark Lord's thing,
Well, if it's one of the Forsaken, it's a total anomaly because
Right, we don't know.
Because we've never had any of the other Forsaken mention this source.
Right. No, we haven't. So maybe it's Shider Haran, or who's not a Forsaken, but he's somehow
Could it
anomaly.
be Rand's brother?
Rand doesn't have a
what's his face?
Slayer.
who's-
I feel
who is
like every
also-
time there's a mysterious male, this is your suggestion.
Well, I mean,
No,
the guy's got power.
My
so.
suggestion is Pod and Fane all the time.
Right. You do like your Pod and Fane.
Because what is he doing?
Well, he's gone. He's not around right now.
It's just twiddling his thumbs rudely.
Jordan introduces a whole new source of power here. We've been operating under the assumption that there was only one source of power.
This
and
comes
it
out of
had
left
been-
field.
It had been tainted by the Dark One, and now we have this totally different power source that comes out of nowhere.
Literally never heard it mentioned before, and it strikes you right between the eyes. Like, what?
Uncuisined.
It
It's the last time.
oh gosh. But it's unqueezed. It's like it's
Yes, we got him.
I would think, and like I'm stuttering and stumbling on my
Yes.
on my
You're
words.
stumbling
excited about
and
I'm squeezing on my
queasoning.
words. I would have to think we'll have more of this.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
I
of course.
really
It
hope
doesn't
so, but
seem
now that
good.
you say it, I hope we don't.
No.
I hope it's just mentioned here this one time.
Right, 'cause
and
it's
my,
not good.
My guess is it's probably more powerful also.
That's what it would seem like, right? If it's untainted.
so if this is a Dark
Or
One
are we
thing,
sure
is there an equivalent for the light?
Yeah, it's the
Who
one we
knows?
already know about.
But
It's the one power.
The bad guys can use the one power.
Well, one of them can.
No, they all can. Anyone who can channel can use the one power.
Right. Oh, the one power. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yes.
is there a one power for the light guys?
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's kind of crappy.
Well, I think we finally got, pure duality here with the two different powers. It does seem weird though. You're right that it seems unfair that the
Right.
bad guys can wield the good power and the bad power. But
Yeah.
I
Not only that, the bad guys can wield the one power without the taint.
also
Are we sure this is a bad guy?
I'm seriously thinking so.
Are you not?
I'm just
Are you
throwing it out there. I
postulating?
want to be on
So
record.
you're
I don't know.
So you're just
Maybe-
being contrarian for no reason.
It's just some random farmer in a ghillie suit that just happens to have this power he has no idea about.
I suspect that it's going to be more powerful, not because it's untainted or pure, because it's not. It's clearly not. It's clearly tainted. That's why that guy has flecks running across his eyes. It's to denote to us how filthy this power is, but the way these things go, the darker power is always stronger, right? I mean, that's just the way that these
cooler.
it's the way these stories go. So I'm expecting it to be more powerful.
Have we?
Well, now they got both.
Given the person's well, that's the other thing is we don't know that. We don't know that somebody who can channel one can channel the other, and we also know that most of the Forsaken aren't using this power, because otherwise Jordan would have done a really bad job of storytelling by not mentioning it prior to now. So this is the only thing that can use this source of that we know. I, like you, Dave, I suspect there are more coming, but up to this point, this is all we have. So it's probably a small amount is what I'm getting to, if there are more.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Weren't there mentions of creatures at the beginning of this book that we hadn't heard of?
Well, we had mention of the golem at the end of the last book when Herod Fell died.
But we'd had mention of, if I'm not mistaken, there's mention of that before as being one of Agonor's creations.
Yes. Yeah, we had a history on it, but we just never, all we knew up to the point where Herod Fell died was that they were a mythic creature. We didn't know that they were real.
I think it was as real as the Trollocs, like, because the people probably thought it was
but we
mythical.
hadn't seen any.
No, correct, yes.
They were only spoken about.
And it also, I'm just throwing Shidar. What's his name? Shidar Haran.
Yeah.
Yes. The
Throw
Murdrol.
that guy in there too.
The Murdrol that's not a Murdrol. That's something more.
Right.
Cadsuane the Great. Ho ho! I'm Cadsuane the Great.
I'm Cranky Pants
Not
Jones.
so great to be around.
No.
I bully everybody I talk
I'm
to.
like wet sand in your underwear.
Nobody really likes me.
It's like wet sand.
Except they do.
Name that movie.
So we get a lot of
No one named that.
we
movie.
get a lot of her history now. So we learn a lot more about who she is, and she's what we thought she was, right? She's this uber powerful Aes Sedai that's come in out of the wilderness and is here to save them, right? I mean, that's essentially...
I mean, she thinks she's there to save them.
I think that's her purpose in this story also. I mean, I think that's where we're headed.
I think her purpose is like the splinter I got under my fingernail.
Yeah.
You're not a fan
Painful.
either? You're not a fan either, Adam? Either item? Either eat 'em?
Hey, item.
Are you
We'll
not a
play
fan
some
of
footy with
Miss
this item.
Cadsuane?
I don't think she would be pleasant to be around. I don't. I don't get it. It's funny because what we were talking about before with the new power, now we have this new character who also has a kind of a great power because she's so old.
And
Simmons is
so
old.
powerful.
And so powerful and has seen so many things.
What if she
that
came
other
into the room,
people
Adam, and
haven't.
called you Duckling?
Who's done that? What? Where did that come from?
That's
That's-
Matt.
oh,
Black-
that's
That's Matt Thailand.
Thailand, yeah.
Yes. Duckling.
They also did that, that also happens in the Black Cauldron. The
Yes, you're
Ordu
right.
Calls,
With Orgoth and Orwich.
Yeah, Ordu calls him a duckling.
Ordu. She calls him my little duckling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
that is meant to be creepy.
And Orgoth just sat there smacking her teeth because she wanted to eat him.
Yeah.
Oh, good time.
Yeah, no, I don't like her. I don't understand. I mean,
I feel like she's a
she's
power of
gathering
good, but
information at this.
I don't like her.
I sort of like her. I don't know what that says about me, but
To me, she's a new Nynaeve.
she is sort of, yes, she's definitely Nynaeve-ish.
Or Varen.
She certainly has
She's
a big
plotting like Varen,
big ego on her. So we've already mentioned she was the strongest Aes Sedai since Elaine, is what the narrative says.
What a weird choice of phrase.
Yeah, what a strange
Since Elaine.
what a strange comparison.
What does that
because,
mean?
I mean, Elaine is really powerful.
Well,
But
she's
not as powerful as
Right.
Egwene or Nynaeve.
Correct.
So, well, no, Egwene.
And maybe Avienda.
We've looked in notes and we know that Elaine, Egwene are the same power
yeah,
level.
we
Same
know
with
that
Avienda.
we know that there are. She's not. She's there. She's as powerful as those.
So what
women.
I wonder, or what I'm going to postulate to you guys in the audience is, with that choice of phrase, I mean, Jordan doesn't normally bandy words out there unless they're important. Do we think she might have been in the tower when Elaine first came to the tower? Because Elaine came to the tower before those other two girls, or had some connection to the tower. So therefore, since Elaine, pre-Egwene and Nynaeve, Elaine was the most powerful.
So what, this was 2 years ago?
Yeah,
No,
whatever it was.
Well, I mean, if she was,
or that's where they were.
the narrative is telling
But
us
she's
she
been missing
wasn't.
forever.
Right. The narrative is telling us that she wasn't, that she's been gone for a very long time. And
Yeah,
she
because
didn't.
everybody that sees her is like, oh.
So maybe the people in the tower had been like, well, who's the most powerful? Oh, it's Cadsuane, even though she's dead, but that's the judgment standard they were using. Then Elaine came along and they're like, oh, wait, now Elaine's the most powerful.
Well,
And then Nynaeve showed up and they're like, well, okay,
most of
there's your comeuppance.
I mean, most of these Aes Sedai know their history, and this is very, very recent history. Cadsuane's retirement, so she's going to be the standard by which everybody is measured. So yeah, it's logical that when Elaine arrived at the tower, that she had I don't think Elaine would have known at the time, but the other Aes Sedai had a feeling of where Elaine stood in reference to Cadsuane, and I think that. But I think since then, more powerful women have arrived in the tower, and so I find it interesting that Jordan chooses to compare Cadsuane to Elaine rather than. Me Nynaeve
too.
is all.
The comparison I could see in one way is just the whole political aspect of it and how she works and talks to people. But that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the actual power.
Right.
It's a little weird. Maybe he was a little drunk that night.
Right. He was in the
So
cups.
were his editors.
Other things that Cadsuane is rumored to have done, she's rumored to have avoided promotion to leadership roles. So initially she was chosen to be one of the sitters for the Green Aja. And then she was rumored to
Didn't she just
become
zip right
Amyrlin. And it was after they tried to nominate her Amyrlin, she just left.
I wonder
she
why
did
that
not
is.
want to be in administration.
Or it's like it feels like she wants leadership to be under her rules. She doesn't want anybody else's rules. She's part of the giant scope of rules that she's going to follow in terms of, because she goes on this rant about the correctly raised Amyrlin,
Right.
Elida. So she's going to follow those strictures. But at the same time, she doesn't want to be promoted to a spot where she's going to be under anyone else's thumb. She wants to do her own thing and go out on her own path and forge her own way without being tied to everything else. That just seems weird to me. Like it's...
Well, she wants her own agency. She doesn't want anybody else making decisions for her. And the fact of the matter is, when you're a political figure, you still have to kowtow to the whims.
She wants to be the governor.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you're the president, you
right. She doesn't want to be the president.
Right.
She wants to be a governor.
You have to work with other people. Yeah, she wants.
That's a good way to put it.
The independence and the agency to do what she wants when she wants to do it, and
She wants
also,
her fiefdom, but at the same time,
I think she probably also is aware that she'll have greater influence actually being out in the field rather than simply dictating things to other people to enact.
Do you think
That
she
is
cares
true.
about influence or she cares about control?
I think she cares about both. I think that on a small scale, she cares about control, and I think that manifests it on a large scale as wanting to have influence so that she controls the way things go. I mean, I think one is just an extension of the other. It was the appearance of Logain that brought her out of retirement.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was Taim.
She likes being around those men that can channel.
Was she actually around them?
She was in the fight to capture them, she alludes to.
Yeah. I couldn't tell. It was a little iffy there if she was actually close to them and saw them doing this stuff in person.
Yeah,
But
she was there.
It would make more sense if she were. It would be more impressive.
And then with Taim, she didn't return to the White Tower with the Reds. She went back into the wilderness looking for a water.
A water.
Man. She was just collecting them.
Well, yeah, but at this point she's realized it's probably not fair. It's probably not a fair exchange. One might say that, yes, but no one on this podcast.
Podcast?
Yeah, it's like
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
That's right.
We will
The gun
quiz you
show
out
is
if you
soon
say
to
things
follow.
wrong.
We're the brothers at the podcast.
Hey.
What?
Hey.
So she asks, I think it's Marana, good. You weren't involved in any of that vileness after the Aiel War.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got any guesses as to what she's talking about there? Because it
We
seems
still
like
have to track Aiel War. I wonder, in my mind, there's two ways I think of this, and one may be completely off to rockers.
It's
But-
Anora, by the way, not Marana.
Anora, okay.
I was wrong.
Like, I wonder if it has to do with the whole. She seems to know a lot. Like, she's tied in,
And she'll let you know that.
right? But she
does
knows.
seem to know a thing
She
or
seems
two.
to know like things that maybe she shouldn't. You wouldn't think she would know. So I wonder if she knows about the vileness in
She
terms
seems
of
to know everything.
the plot with Swan and Moraine to get to Rand, because that was a very secret thing, and maybe she thinks that is not something they should have done secretly. You know, not Rand being the Dragon Reborn at that time. They didn't know it was Rand. So I wonder if this is a
But that
stretch.
wasn't-
But I wonder.
The Aiel Wars were what, 200 years ago?
No,
the
it was
Aiel War
when Rand was born.
20
It
years
ended
ago,
when
yeah.
Rand was born
Oh,
on
it's-
Dragonmount.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's, yes.
So part of me wonders if it has anything to do with that, because she's, for as much as she wants her own agency and wants to do her own thing, she seems very tied into what is right and proper in the rules of the Aes Sedai, hence the whole legally
Yeah,
raised.
she's legalistic
And then my
when it benefits her.
that's like I'm scratching to try to come up with things, or stretching or reaching.
Yeah.
But the second thing that I can think of is it kind of goes to Anora or whatever you were saying.
Yeah.
Just the accords, the things they were trying to put together.
But those were successful
Doesn't mean they
immediately.
doesn't mean they were necessarily done well. Like you
What
could
were those exactly that she said she was working on?
treaties.
Anora?
Who's yeah, I think it was Anora was involved in negotiating to keep the contingency together, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
to keep the nations in unison after, because they would have had to have bonded together in order to fight the Aiel. So they were trying to keep them together, and we've had a couple of different mentions of how surprisingly successful the treaties were initially. So I don't think it was that, but I do get the sense that it was something political. But
Dave,
I could be
your idea
wrong
about knowing about the hunt for Rand, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
But there was only 2 people that knew that.
right,
that's two
and
people,
it went
but
on
it's-
it went on for years and years
massively,
and years.
massively important.
Yeah,
Probably the most
Yes.
important thing that maybe the most important thing a Swan ever did as coming into the Amerlin.
I just don't think
yeah,
I just don't think she would have referred to that as that vileness that happened after. I think she would have referred to that as something bigger in
Agreed.
scope.
I'm just trying to think of things that happened that we know of
Yeah,
that
I know.
happened after the Aiel War. That's literally the only thing I can think of.
I suspect that this information
We don't know,
will
or-
be revealed
yeah.
at some point much farther down the road.
Over
Book
there.
13.
Over there.
Marana thinks that Cadsuane is one of the Aes Sedai that appeared in the city after Rand was abducted. That's not a good sign.
No.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Not a good sign.
Because
whatsoever.
she doesn't do anything coincidental.
No.
So it's not just going to be a coincidence that when Rand is taken from the city, she appeared. She must have known that was going on.
yeah.
She knows everything.
Right.
That's very, very, very concerning.
It feels slightly problematic.
Yeah. It doesn't make me think that she is going to be operating under Rand's best interests.
No, she's going to be operating under her best interests. No,
Right,
I don't
but-
even think that's necessarily true. I don't think it's her best interests. It's what
Whose
she
best
feels
interest?
is what she feels is the best interests for the world from her viewpoint.
Right. What I'm
Now, granted, she's
That
been
can
around and
often
seen
be
a
a
few
very
things.
the
threatening,
person that plotted to
individual.
have Rand captured was not a good guy. And she was aware of this plan and said nothing about it to anybody. I'd say that sounds to me like somebody who's not a good guy. Bad guy?
Could it be a force that? No, it wouldn't.
She's
be
like,
could it
I
be a
don't-
in the
Forsaken?
Dungeons
I don't
and
think it
Dragons
needs to be.
world, she's like chaotic neutral. Like she's like
I'm leaning
I don't know
toward
if she's
evil
neutral.
for me.
Like Eric bringing
At least
this
I'm
up, I don't know
concerned.
if that's neutral.
Yeah, I
if
don't think
she's-
that's-
if she's around for that.
I mean, not she didn't technically. It is neutral because she didn't do anything, right? So that's
and I don't even think
okay,
chaotic
so-
neutral is.
Oh
she's-
no, I would
she's-
say if she's not totally evil, then she has to be chaotic neutral.
Except I don't feel
Because
like there's
she's
any.
definitely chaotic. She's
She
throwing
is,
a
but
huge
it's-
monkey wrench.
It's
in
from
there.
a level of control from her own standpoint. Like she,
Well, yeah, I
she's
mean,
definitely got a path that she is driving.
almost
I
every
feel like.
every villain is a protagonist in their own mind. So of course she is going to be doing things in her own self-interest, which from her perspective may not seem evil.
I think the
But
better
I'm asking
explanation
about
for
it from
for
our
her is
perspective.
an anti-hero right now. Like that's probably the best way to see her.
I mean, there's a lot to be judged still. So I'm not.
Wait, so Eric, why do
We've
you
literally
like her?
got a chapter and a half of her. That's all
Right.
we've
You
got.
said
And we're
you
all
like
like,
her.
I do sort of like her. This is just concerning.
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean, my initial
I also
impressions
kind
of
of
her
like her
are
because
she's
of
pretty
just how
smart.
she takes care of business.
Yeah, she's pretty smart. She's pretty direct. She gets.
Yep.
She seems to get things done, even though they're not for anybody else but herself. But I mean, that don't get me wrong.
She
I
does
mean,
seem to ignore conveniently pretty important questions. She
yeah,
does it well.
if she'd feel right, yes. Well, she's a fairly decent diplomat. Okay, let's move on to Fear of the Dark.
Fear of the Dark.
Do.
That was a strange.
The jazz version.
What was that? You cuisined it. I need to brush my
That was
teeth after
bad.
saying that.
So Mycia and Kadar.
Kadar.
Kedar.
Well, I think you can pronounce it either way, but that's fine.
I like the sound of
There
better.
are
Better. Much
so
better.
we finally learn who the stranger is that Masana got the box from,
Strangers.
and it turns out to be Samael,
Exchange
who's revealed himself to her as Kadar, who is a guy that has given her this incredibly who's made claims to have something that can control Rand, has given her this box, which is a Terangrial,
Where did they
and
meet?
has told her that he is not a man who can channel.
So
She
he's
believes
mentioned
that he's this incredibly powerful guy who can't channel, whose butt she thinks she's going to be able to kick very easily when this is all over.
Well, I
She's
mean,
a little obtuse.
Look, I actually don't even think it's that. I think it's she is so wrapped up in. I think she's incredibly intelligent, but I think she's so wrapped up in her narrow viewpoint of what the world is and or can or can't be, because she's had no experience. She's up until this point, she's had no experience with men that can channel.
No, she just
Very
saw
limited.
a ton of them.
Very, but right, it's going to take a while for that to sink in, I think, or it shouldn't. But with her, because she's so wrapped up in this is what it is, and it can't be anything other than
I
this.
understand what you're saying.
So, right or wrong, and in this case, it's very, very wrong. and I really, because I hate her with every fiber of my being, I hope she gets the comeuppance that we all really want her to have.
Yep.
I don't feel like, and I'm not trying to disparage what you're saying, I don't feel like it's an obtuseness. I feel like it's just like, what? That can't possibly be. Because my limited experience says it can't. My experience is defining my reality.
Well, she can't imagine anything outside her own experience.
Right, which is obviously problematic.
But
I also wonder,
dumb, it's a huge blind spot.
it is a massive blind spot. And good. I'm glad that
the kind
blind
you
spot
shouldn't
is
be
there.
driving with.
I'm glad that blind spot is there, because she's going to go to make that left-hand turn and turn to the semi, and it's going to run her over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet she's going to be.
But my
around for a
greater
bit.
concern is, and I'm glad you kind of pointed this out. He mentioned he has a way to control her. Do we think this is the things that the girls threw into the lake, into the river? Those
the collars,
the male collars.
I think it's.
And if that's the case, how does he have them?
Well, I don't think it has to be those specific ones. I think that that's the device, but I don't think it's the ones that they dumped into the ocean. I don't think so.
You think there's multiple of those?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I think,
Yeah,
I think there was something.
that's what I thought. I didn't think about them even dropping those.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I
great.
did when
That's
they
a great
did it,
recall.
thought, this is really dumb.
Right. But I think he has a stasis box because Grendel talks about him having more goodies than simply these things.
Yeah.
And so I think he's found a stasis box and has been lying to everybody except for Grendel now, who's seen all this stuff that he has. Where does he get those toys?
Right, exactly.
So there's that. And then he brings Grendel there in order to further solidify this lie that he's telling Savannah, which is, I'm just a man who has all these things and I can't channel, but I have all these things and I have a woman who can channel under my power. I'm just that magnetic a personality. Like, what is she thinking?
I have no idea.
If I
She's
saw
so
this
annoying.
guy, I'd be like, if this man can't channel, he's still incredibly powerful at something.
So, like he's got skills in some other area. Like he
Something
magically
I
is
probably
appearing.
shouldn't mess with.
And even if he doesn't, the chick with him does. So
Who's clearly controlled by him.
right. So what has he got over her?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Savannah is just like looking at all this and going, yeah, I can take him.
Yeah. She's not even thinking that.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
She doesn't even have
She
to
keeps-
think it. She's just like,
she's got the crane kick.
It's
That's
her
the
internal
crank.
monologue keeps talking
She
about when
has
she
the
puts
fist
him in
of the
black
North
or
Star.
She
white.
does have the fist of the North Star.
Yeah, she's so, I don't like
She's
her.
got Adam. She's got the 5-finger death punch.
Oh yeah, 5-finger death punch.
Yeah.
Put her hand right through that tree.
Right.
So he brings Grendel there.
He's like he's basically Rasputin.
Right. The never dying, stabbed a million times, poisoned, shot, and buried alive.
Yeah,
drowned.
Well, you look
Rasputin.
at Rasputin, he looks like a crazy man, but he was very
Right.
able to control.
But that's also partially
control
because
some
I
people.
am Nostradamus. There's your Judas Priest moment.
Yeah. I do want to know where they actually met one another, though. I want to see that scene.
Who?
Savannah and him.
We
When
had
did they
that
actually
scene.
meet?
We had that
When
scene.
did we
no,
meet them
previously.
when
No,
they-
they
when they-
talk about the fact that he
Yeah.
appeared to her before.
In Kinslayer's Dagger when they were crossing over into the wetlands.
Did we have?
I don't
scene
think
with
we have
them
the
talking to
first
one
time
another?
they met.
Another?
I think they
Pardon me?
allude to it, but I don't think we have
no,
the first.
I think I thought there was a flashback.
Okay,
So
that's on me.
we've got, well, Adam, there's tons and tons of story here, so it's
Yes.
understandable. So we've got Grendel and Samael here, and aside from the one moment that the Watcher views where he thinks, oh, wow, she's going to try to kill him, he really seems to have it over her. Like, he seems to have her.
Well, she thinks
whole
he's gonna be
nameless
nameless.
thing is really just, and she's just like, nobody could deceive me, so he must be telling the truth.
She's really bought into him being
this whole
nameless.
aspect
She's
of it
really
is pretty
suckered
funny.
into this bold-faced lie.
No, it's pretty funny, especially because the one who's in the ghillie suit thinks, "Oh, he's lying about Rand."
He's drawing dead, and she's just like, I fold.
I wonder,
Yeah.
do we think that Samael's got some issues? Do we
Oh, do
think
tell.
do we think that
I
he
would like
actually
to
thinks he has a
name me
truce
his
with
top
Rand?
3 issues.
No.
But eventually that's going to blow up in his face.
One would think.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say, Dave?
I'm postulating or
that Samael believes his own lie that he has a truce with Rand.
because
No,
eventually
remember, he sent the
sometimes people tell a
messenger.
lie so many times that it becomes reality.
Right.
I
no.
mean,
That is true. That does happen.
He knows that guy died, and he knows how that guy died.
So
The messenger. to
oh,
Rand.
I get that, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's kind of like
I don't think he's fooled himself.
he's spitting that to Grandel to get control over Grandel because he thinks he's going to promote this lie that he's going to be enabler so he can get her assistance. But what happens when Rand flexes? Like
Right.
Grandel's going to be like, peace out,
What happens
bitches.
when
I'm
that
done.
war that Rand has been waiting to bring to Samael actually arrives?
Is it going to?
I'm pretty sure it's going to.
I hope so because we've been talking about it for like 2 books now.
Yeah, right, I know. Otherwise, we've
And
just
then they
wasted
pulled
a lot
out of that.
breath.
Like they canceled the whole trip to do it.
They canceled the trip.
I
They called their booking agent and were like,
Matt's
I'm
been-
not coming anymore.
Matt's flight's been rerouted. Like
Hello, Hawaii? You could take those palm trees and shove them.
because I'm going to Thailand. I mean, I don't know what's happening.
Well, I think there are
I'm
palm trees there
canceling
too.
my trip.
Yeah, but that has to come crashing down eventually.
And I would hope so.
And the only thing is, if it does, the only thing that can probably prevent or make Grandel not want to do is if he dies.
Oh, she's going to kill him.
No. If Rand kills him,
If
Grandel's going to
Rand
be like,
kills him
well,
first,
doesn't matter. He's dead
if
anyhow.
Rand doesn't
so.
kill him, she's going to.
Right, we'll try to. I don't know who's the stronger of those two.
Well, I don't think she will. I don't think it'll be an upfront attack. I think it'll be poison. She seems like a
Grandel,
poisoner.
do you think she's a poison
I
type?
think she's a
I think
poisoner.
her anger would drive her to try a full up frontal assault. She's not the
You don't think
spider.
she can control her anger?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like a Forsaken killing another Forsaken.
I would like that.
Oh, I believe it's going to arrive at some point.
It's gotta.
It's going to happen. So, lastly, here, Samael's been
nameless.
waiting for one of yes, the nameless.
I'm nameless.
Samael's been waiting for one of Savannah's wise ones to ask about traveling, and when she brings it up, Savannah sees his face and sees him smile a little bit, but she can't figure out why. First of all, he tells him Grendel can't do it, which is a lie. So
is he trying to mislead them to the importance of Grandel?
What he's trying to do is make them use boxes, make them use objects rather than her actually teaching them how to do it on their own. He tells them he's going to give them these traveling boxes, in quotation marks, and I think they're tracking devices.
Right.
Yeah,
or it had. I don't know. I don't know if that's their sole function, but I think that's probably a function of them.
Right. It's going to allow him to either
Because they
control
still actually
them,
have
which I
to
doubt.
do what they think they're supposed to do, but at the same
Sure.
time allow him to be like,
Know where they
"And
are."
They're here.
Right. Yeah,
there
exactly.
they are in Carrion.
Right. Because we know that he's looking now for them to, raid like Vikings.
Oh, look, they didn't reroute their flight from Hawaii. They're still there.
No, they're on
Oahu.
on time.
Yeah.
So now he's sort of got this pseudo guerrilla army in this area, creating small bits of chaos. Unless, of course, you're being attacked by the Shido, then they're pretty big bits of chaos to you.
Yeah.
When the Shido come to visit your town,
I don't want
your
them
very
to.
wealthy town.
They're going to take the
definitely
fifth.
don't want
They
them to
don't
come
just
to my
take the
town.
fifth. They take the whole thing.
Right.
The whole
Right.
thing.
They just
I'll
they
take the
just-
whole thing.
They take 5/5.
Right, exactly. They take the whole pie.
Let's move into the Searchers here. I just made that song up. I'm so proud of myself.
Isn't that a John Wayne movie?
It is a John Wayne movie.
Yeah.
This is not a John Wayne movie. This is a Nynaeve movie, which means
boy.
it's very
It's a great
angry.
movie.
Which means Eric's going to be very
Which
upset.
means it's one man chasing down another. It's the unstoppable force
Only
that is
Nynaeve's
just
not a
going to
man.
kill you. Right. Well, I know, but that's a type of movie. So here comes Nynaeve, right in your face.
That's what she does.
She has a certain set of skills.
Unless you're Lan.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and she is going to, and one of them is whining, and one of them is complaining.
Don't forget braid
It is-
pulling. That is another skill entirely.
What did you
She's
say?
a master braid puller.
Yes,
No,
her own
she's
braid.
seriously good at
But she
yanking
might
that
pull
idiot.
in somebody else's every once
It's
in
like
a while.
yanking one's own chain.
I've reached a saturation point with Nynaeve. I don't know.
You've gone beyond
I
saturation.
don't know if I
point.
can
cannot-
take any more.
You've gone
Nynaeve.
past boiling
Make
point.
that statement. We are way too early in this for you. to
I
have that.
know it.
Well, we are 6 books in.
I can't.
So,
I don't understand why any of these girls like her. How do any of these other women get along with her? How can they stand traveling with her?
because she has her moments.
Right. There are moments of good. Right.
But
Moments
those-
of good.
Those moments she
The
has.
rest of
I
it
mean,
sucks.
you want to talk about one of the greatest moments we've seen in this book? She captured a Forsaken. I mean,
Yep.
All right.
what are you going to say?
I mean, yeah, you're really powerful, but that doesn't make you likable.
No, but it makes you useful. So, you know.
So she's a tool to them.
I mean-
I don't think that that's what's suggested.
But I think we have to realize also that they grew up knowing that she was the boss, like because she was
Not
the
Elaine.
wisdom. Well,
And
no,
she's proud of it.
but everyone else sans Elaine, Egwene, Matt,
Right.
Perrin.
Isn't Elaine's the best judge because it's totally unbiased and
But she's the one that
uncomplicated
seems
by
to get her.
sentimentality?
She's the one that seems to get along with her most of the time. The best.
Elaine?
Yes. They butt heads, but they also make
I know,
up really
and that's
well.
what I'm saying. It's weird.
Well, I think
Because
that's
I
also
find her
because
totally
Elaine.
disagreeable.
But Elaine is also used to being in a place of leadership and power.
Yeah, but
And those
Elaine Elaine has better control of her emotions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
But my point isn't about emotions. My point is about leadership. And
but-
leaders are often, at least in the world that we're experiencing here, not the best personalities, let's say. I mean, look at Matt's experience. Matt can't stand Elaine.
I mean, I would.
Elaine
it's-
drives Matt crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's because of her personality.
Until
Yeah.
well, right. It's
I also don't
it's also
understand why Matt
Matt's
doesn't like it.
bias
Well, I do
against
understand that.
nobles.
Never mind.
Right, it is, but that's my whole point. Everyone in here has a bias of some sort, and that bias is kind of ruling everything.
Right. The difference is Nynaeve has a bias against everybody. Everyone.
So, except for Lan
Except for Lan. Right.
and Egwene, she seems to get along pretty well with it.
Nope.
But I know
Oh,
that's it. I
no.
feel like I think it's just Matt.
No. Okay. Well, no. I
her-
mean,
no,
she
her
gets
and
in
Egwene
arguments with
had-
these
had
other
their
women.
issues.
Yeah, they
Her
get
and
it.
who?
Her and remember when she and Egwene were traveling?
That's because that's a power thing. That's a power struggle because she
It
sees
was
Egwene coming
right,
up. In
but
the
it went
world
on
and-
for months.
right. But then now she submits
Why-
to Egwene.
I mean,
Sure,
she's
but they're not around
still
each other.
she still refuses
also
to be
still young
wrong
in
in
this
most
story.
conversations.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
that's her
she-
personality.
Right.
Yep.
It's disagreeable.
It is. It
It's
absolutely is disagreeable.
and argumentative.
It is. It is.
I think
And
the
she's-
answer to this is
she's a handful.
she's just so darn good looking.
She is so good looking.
Yeah.
And she probably is.
Her
but
friends are
Oh,
really
she
going to
is.
care a lot about that. I don't get it. Don't get
I mean,
why these
Lan
women
does.
are hanging around her.
That's what it is. That's the obvious answer. The obvious answer is she has not had enough recent land exposure, which is what she
you know
needs
what?
to
Yeah.
calm her crap down. Like she
If only
needs to
this were we could get into that if this were a different podcast, and that would be funny.
Right. So
She's
Right.
queasing.
here we get
and the art is missing.
the
Yes.
a discovery of, and we learn a little bit about the guild of wise women in Ibu Dar, and it seems that they are part of this collective of women who have, are we going to guess, been tossed out of the tower? And by tossed, I don't mean like thrown out for being belligerent or anything, but like women who couldn't make it in the White Tower for one reason or another, which, ostensibly I think is the runaways that Van Dien and Adelius are supposed to be looking for here in Ibu Dar.
Yeah, that's what they were sent out for. I'm just going to preface this with saying, Eric, you can pause this here if it's a dumb question. Why are we so sure that they're wise women?
Because Nynaeve ties them to.
I know she does, but
Well, remember, there's the red belt that she sees, which we've seen before on a wise woman in
Do we
Ibu
think
Dar.
they're all that way, or just maybe some? Or
we don't
know.
We don't know for sure, but there's the suggestion that they that it might be all of the wise women. I think Nynaeve thinks it is.
Well,
yeah.
Now we're relying on Nynaeve's sensibility.
Well, I mean, no, I
But
said Nynaeve
many-
was unlikable, not dumb.
Well, at times she's dumb.
But you were talking about going to the tower.
Yeah, well,
How
remember
many
they
wise
quiz
ones have we
them.
known?
They quiz them with information that
I'm talking about
novices
going
would
back
know.
to Callie. Callie.
So clearly they have knowledge
I
of the
don't think
tower.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's possible that only one of them would need that, but I think the suggestion is that at least many of them, if not most of them,
Am I
know this
wrong
information.
for thinking it's crazy about thinking about wise ones in the tower?
No. Wise women, not wise ones. These are the medicine women in Ibu Dar. So yes, you
There
are
we
crazy
go.
about thinking
That's
about
that
wise
is the-
ones in the tower.
That is the big difference that I'm looking at there. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
Whole different group of people.
yes, totally different. Not Aiel.
Yeah.
So they're
They're cast-offs and cutaways.
they are this. Well, some of them seem to have deliberately chosen to not be in the tower. I get the feeling. We just get general impressions of these women. We don't really know anything about them, but this is the feeling that I'm getting from this experience so far. I could be totally wrong.
What I'm annoyed about in terms of the searchers has to do with their opinion about dealing with Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is a great illustration of human behavior, right? Because the people that you grow up with are always the people who believe the least in your capabilities. They're the people who are least amazed by anything you do. They are the people who, in this case, are most annoyed. I mean, it's clear that Elaine finds Matt annoying. He, finds his carousing annoying, but she can work her way to apologizing to Matt, and even work her way up to Matt might be an interesting person to hang around to get some good curse words out of.
Yeah, Elaine likes that.
but Nynaeve is constantly looking for ways not to. For ways where they can resolve this situation of trying to find this bowl without Matt getting any credit for it whatsoever.
Well,
She thinks it would be more annoying. First of all, I want to go back and say that I hope that those that you grew up with would be celebrating. What
that
you
rarely
do.
happens.
Well,
it all quite simply goes back to an earlier conversation where Matt was going up to I don't want to say beat her, but like whack her around for what she did before, like and she's been scared of Matt ever since. And so that's why Nynaeve.
No.
So that's why she wants nothing to
But
Matt
this
to
isn't-
have nothing to do with it.
This isn't. I agree that was a thing, but this isn't fear. This is just she really dislikes Matt.
See, I don't actually think it is that she really dislikes Matt. I think she's
Why would
trying
she
to-
rather hang out with these three with days in the circle that she's never known, that have just kicked her out and haven't listened to her at all, instead of just actually spending a couple days with Matt?
Right. That gives you an idea of how much she dislikes Matt.
See,
It's so annoying to me. It's so ridiculous to me, the fact that she's
I think she doesn't want to be around him because she's afraid
can't
he's
spend
going
a day
to one up her
around
again.
That's what you think it is?
I do. I mean, I think
All right.
I think he grates her the wrong way, which he can do to
definitely.
anybody.
Except for the people that he hangs around with who really seem to enjoy his company.
Well, who are those people?
Right.
The soldiers.
Right. So those aren't women.
Who is?
Birgitta loves his presence.
Who is in
Who is
Gamblers?
Birgitta?
Yeah.
A soldier.
Right. It's just
It's
people.
normal people.
It's people with, well,
Yes.
I don't.
Yes, it's
Elaine
normal.
and Nynaeve are not normal. But it's people with
I thought Dave was saying
middle
normal
class
people like
morality.
Matt.
I mean,
It's
I don't
more
even know that
specifically,
Elaine's
it's
got Elaine
women.
wants to
It's
swear.
women with
So,
right. But
Elaine's awesome. I like.
it seems to
Elaine
be women. I mean, Matt and
great.
Julian or Tom and Julian don't have any trouble hanging around Matt.
no, but I think they also do recognize that he is a scoundrel. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the way Olver's being
Satella
raised, and
Nan
he's trying
loves
to
him.
right. But look at the way Olver's being raised, and he's trying to blame it off on everybody else, and it's his bad influence that making Olver the way he
Yes,
is.
he has a huge,
Well, I
like
know,
many
but he
people,
also-
has a huge
did he-
blind spot
Ulfar
when it
was
comes to
just-
his personality.
Ulfar was just put at his feet. Like, here you go.
No, yeah.
On the other hand, taking care of Ulver
Right.
would be something that people would not think would be part of his character, and there he is doing it.
He's not taking care of him. He's paying to have him taken care of. He's
After-
voicing it off on everybody else.
Well, he has a lot. He has a lot to do right now.
He does, but my point still remains that he's not really doing it.
But don't forget that he was doing it for a time where that's why we had those scenes of him playing snakes and foxes with Ulver, and
I
I mean, he
definitely
goes.
was.
there were other people in the room too. I would challenge to find many times where it was just him and Ulver. Now, I'm not to say that hasn't happened, but I just don't really recall many of him himself actually doing the work.
There are
That's
are a
fine.
couple of
The
scenes.
story has taken place over 2 years.
I do think
and
it is
he's
good that
getting
he's doing it.
overforced in him, and he's also.
I'm not
That's
saying that he
out here
doesn't
in-
care, but I don't think he's as magnanimous as we're making him out to be. In
Nor
that
should he
regards.
be
But anyhow,
in terms of Ulver.
I think she likes Matt. I think she's knows that he's got something hanging over her. Obviously, having to apologize, and she doesn't like apologizing to anybody, for starters.
No.
So
Though
it's
we
not
have
just
had
Matt.
recent instances of her slowly learning how to apologize and actually getting some gratification from the feeling that it brings.
I will say
That,
she will probably
that does
keep
not
her
apply
word.
to this situation.
No, she begrudgingly will keep her word though.
I would think so, but I think that she will probably slip up,
Oh yeah,
not
She's
out
gonna-
of
at the
just
least
out of
bit, she's
lack of
gonna yell at
emotional discipline. I mean, she almost spoiled it right within 30 seconds of having
Right.
made the promise in the first place.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
she can't control her
I
emotions.
will not yell at you.
right. That's great.
The
I think the thing that you were talking about that I was thinking I was going to talk about was the whole the deal with the sea folk.
no, that wasn't it. But that's all right.
I have no idea then.
So Nynaeve leads them off on this hunt for the kin, and Elaine doesn't seem to catch on at all to why Nynaeve is doing this.
She's like elbowing her, nudging her, winking at her. Elaine's like, "What are you doing over there?" I
Yeah.
mean, not really, but that's almost what was happening.
Did you as readers, did you guys figure out what was going on?
I agreed. I understood where Nynaeve was coming from, but
Yeah.
I agreed with Elaine the most.
Really?
Oh, I agreed with Nynaeve. Like she
Oh,
Nynaeve is not one of I would argue Nynaeve is not one who doesn't just willy-nilly go off on something like this. Like she typically
Especially
has
where
a-
she has to be meek.
right. If she's following something like that, it's gonna be for a really good reason. Now, I may not have known what that reason was, but I knew she was onto something, and that like go with it.
well, what would that reason be?
Well, in this particular case,
I don't understand where it would come from, and why she is so honorable in doing this.
Well, this is the great thing about this is the only reason she does this. The only reason that the mantra that she keeps telling herself is if these women can help us find the bowl of winds, then we don't need Matt. That's the reason
only
she's doing this.
it. Yeah,
no,
and I don't think it's.
I disagree.
Well, I mean,
because-
she says it. It's in the narrative.
right, but she also says we can bring these people to Egwene. She specifically talks about
I think you're conflating something that happens in the future. I don't think that's
No.
occurred yet.
no.
That-
She talks about it in these chapters. She says, imagine how happy Egwene would be about having these people, and then she and Elaine are arguing about it. It's in.
I don't think so.
That chapter. It's in
I'm
chapter
sure that
22.
That's coming, but I don't think that
so.
that's happened yet.
Dave.
Fairly certain it's in chapter 22.
I know you're certain.
It could have happened, but I don't remember it. And I've just listened to all the chapters today.
I don't remember that either.
It could have.
But what I do know is that she refers twice to the fact that what she wants is she's looking for a way that they don't need to use Matt.
Yes, she 100% is looking away that they don't use Matt. And she's thinking of it at the end there, just like, oh man, I'd rather not. That's what I said before. I'd rather not spend 2 days with Matt than 3 days with these people who have kicked them out.
That being said, whatever the motivation is, she's trying to figure out a way. She's performing meekness, and I think that she would have. I think she would have figured out a way to try to get to the Bowl of Winds. Now, Elaine has a very
fascinating to me. I just disagree.
And do we actually think these women know where this is?
Yes.
No.
Why?
Yes. Because after okay, you don't. I do.
I don't.
After they leave, there is a suggestion that they've been holding back from those two, and I don't know that there's anything in the book that specifically points in one direction or the other, but what we do know is they don't tell them anything, right? They don't tell Nynaeve and Elaine a thing.
Well, they're not, but they're also not listening to a word they say.
Right.
Their minds are made up already.
And this is where like I think Nynaeve's plan was a good one, but it's also very possible that they would have gotten in there and been working with these women for weeks and never learned anything. Because what we do know for sure is these women are terrified of being discovered by the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And leading these two girls to a group of Terangriel or Angriel would be one way to call the Aes Sedai down upon their heads.
But I do want to apologize here and say I think, Eric, I think you would be right in the fact that they probably do know where it is in terms of this is written. It's a book.
I just wonder why they would know.
Brought up. I don't know yet, but they have to.
I mean, they might. They seem to know this things what's going on in this town pretty well.
And remember how pervasive they are in the city. I mean, they're. It seems as if, because remember we get a reference to the kin, and we also get a reference to the circle, as if one is part of the other greater organization. And then Nynaeve comes upon the idea that somehow they are also directly related to the Guild of Wise Women, which there are wise women, right, the red belt. Right. And there are wise, we've seen, remember, a couple of, I think it might have even been in the previous book, we saw a wise woman heal somebody.
The guy, that was dying or tried to heal him.
And there are wise women all throughout the city. So these women are in every corner of this city.
If indeed those wise women are part of the kin, which we don't know.
No, we don't. I'm simply reading the same breadcrumbs that Nynaeve is.
Right. Yeah.
So I do think it's possible. And I do think Nynaeve had a good plan. I also can see Elaine's point, because she's looking at these women. These women aren't telling them anything and are literally just looking to subjugate them.
Yeah, I like when she I love that interaction with Elaine where she's just kind of like, all right, enough is enough already.
Yeah. And at that point, it's interesting that Nynaeve doesn't continue on with the charade. She actually goes, okay.
Recognizes,
She doesn't do it great. I mean, she's sort of complaining even while she's admitting to who they are. But she does follow through with Elaine's plan. And then the women let them go. And remember that they say that they threatened to tell people in the city tower, so that word will reach the Aes Sedai about these two women that they believe are imposters. And yet when they leave, we learn that they have absolutely no plans of doing that, because that would reveal who they are. and that they are there. So that was really interesting to me, is exactly how tenuous their situation is in the city. So we learn a lot about this circle and their political structure is an interesting concept, is an interesting contrast to the Tower, right? Because we learn through these women's interaction that unlike the Tower, they don't status themselves based purely on their strength in the one power. There's some other hierarchy that Elaine and Nynaeve can't figure out, which is in deliberate, I think, contrast to the White Tower.
That makes sense. Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting society to observe and learn about, over these next several chapters.
And
How are you feeling about them overall?
So we're assuming we're going to learn more, I would hope, about that structure, not just the peoples, but
yeah, I'm sure this is going to become a major influence. I feel they seem harmless to me.
I mean, define harmless.
I was scared at first because I thought that they were going to get taken away and actually.
You thought they were going to dose them with fork root,
exactly.
Shove them all.
Yeah, because it's happened so many times. That's
right. Those poor girls.
Twice.
Especially, Nynaeve is like the fork root queen amongst all these people.
You'd think she'd be able to smell fork root a mile away by this point.
Have a smell? I don't know.
No, I don't.
She knows her herbs.
She just gets drawn in by those. She gets drawn in by those brooms hanging up in front of people's
right. No, I think it's the flower pots outside the.
It's something hanging upside down. It's the herbs hanging upside down.
Yeah, it was the herbs that identified.
I went into a shop like that today.
And how was that for you?
I should have asked.
Did you ask if they had any fork root tea?
No, we never came up with what would the code word be
for fork root.
Oh my gosh.
No, just being like what did they have to walk in and say?
Oh, the something with the color of the Aja in it.
Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm a yellow pepper.
Right, exactly.
What, Mr. Pepper's Poppers or Popper Peppers? What is that book? Mr. Pepper's. What is that?
Pepper Popper pops a peck of penguins.
Peck of picker pepper pipers. What? There was that
Peter
book when we were kids.
Peter Piper.
No, it's a very famous book. Mr. Pepper's.
It's penguins or what?
No, Poppers. That's Mr. Popper's Penguins. That was a movie. No, the Peppers. Never mind. It was a book series.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know.
It's time to bid happy trails to you until we meet again.
In a different key.
Happy trails. Colavir. Min gets the dubious honor of being the one to discover Colavir's hung body there in her apartments.
Ugh.
Yeah. Not great.
Poor Min.
Yeah, poor Min.
She sees enough.
She gets her little reward from Rand though. So
that was the most unclean way to say that.
So I thought
that was the perfect time to say she got queased.
I did say that.
David did.
There you
say
go.
It.
There
Min,
you go.
So Min thought that there was a chance. Min thought that there was a chance that her vision wasn't going to come true because of Rand and Ta'Veren and all that craziness.
So I wonder if she actually thought that was the case, or she was just like, "I really hope this isn't the case. It's come true every other time." But,
correct. I think it was more hope than it was
logic. Please prove me wrong for once.
Right, and it didn't. But we thought maybe,
in the words of Prong,
I was thinking, this was going to happen like a book later. I didn't think she was just going to. First of all, I thought she was gone. I thought she was on her little farm in the Colavir. I thought she was on her little farm near Kinslayer's dagger.
I was so confused. I thought we were talking about Herodfell. Never mind.
No, nobody said Herodfell.
They did not at all.
And I said several times.
You said Min, but
I was thinking
Min discovered her.
Right, but also I'm thinking Min in the news of Herodfell.
Right. No.
Right.
No, Min gets to be aware of two of these deaths, as does Rand.
Not even there yet.
So jumping the gun.
So Colavir never left and just hung herself there in her own rooms before she could even be escorted to this farm.
But to Colavir, whom no one likes, credit. She went out
props
in
to
style.
Colavir. Yeah, absolutely. Best dress,
Best
most
hair,
expensive,
most jewelry. This is the most expensive suicide there ever was.
Yes.
Like she went out.
Well, we don't know that.
She went out Costanza style. She went and dropped the mic on a high note. Like she was like,
she went out
I am
Liberace
not going
style.
to your farm. I am going out here.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I will control my death, not you.
while I'm not supporting that decision whatsoever, what I am saying is the fact that like she did take matters into her own hand and
yeah,
like
she did it her way.
She did it her way. Exactly. Like,
So Min sees the death of, well, she doesn't see Colavir die. She sees the results of her hanging. And then she has to hear about her good friend Herod Fell being dismembered limb from limb and piled up next to his desk there.
Her good friend / let's be honest, generally creepy dude with certain things that he said to her.
Herod Fell? You thought Herod Fell was creepy, dude?
It's innocent.
No, yeah, he's an innocent old man. He's
not.
He's not a creepy dude. You're not meant to think he's creepy.
He's not a lesher or like a
no.
I didn't think he was creepy, but I think that maybe
you're looking at the lens of today's society. Like Herod Fell was just
even that. Back off. That
he was just an innocent old man who was just. He just thought she was,
He's harmless.
No, I thought it was. No, he's obviously harmless, but I thought
he's
was
dead.
Funny because she would just laugh to herself. She's just like, oh, that old man.
Yeah.
Just
because he was so flattered that some young attractive woman
isn't an Elaine
was
Tom
paying
Maryland
any attention
thing.
to him. Right. Yeah.
That is specifically odd.
That was gross.
That's just specific. and I also was all on board.
I'm still trying to figure out if that was real or if it was just like
your mind is trying to do gymnastics around it. Is what's happening. Happy Trails, Colavir and Herod Fell. And when Herod Fell died, Rand was trying to figure out why he would have died, and we know it's because he was going to tell Rand about the seals.
Well, but what about him? We don't even know what it was about it.
I mean, he says that he basically says you have to rip the Band-Aid off in order to heal, in order for the wound to heal.
Does that not sound disastrous to anyone else other than me?
Oh, yeah.
And do we think that's going to go over well with anyone else?
Well,
namely,
how are they going to know now?
Who's the keeper of the seals?
Right. No. I know. You're saying release Shaitan is the...
Who is the keeper of the seals?
Well, it was Moiraine.
No.
Now it's the Tower.
No, what's the charge of the Amyrlin? The Amyrlin is the title, is the keeper of the seals.
Yeah.
And it's now Egwene. That's not going to go over well with Rand and Egwene. Well, we don't care about Elida. She's a crackpot.
But she's the one in the tower.
Well, I don't consider that. I consider the Tower 2 the real tower now at this point.
Well, that's fine.
So that's going to be a massive power struggle between Egwene and Rand. If he thinks that's a legitimate thing, that because Herod, he doesn't know it yet. So
no, I don't know if he's going to know it now.
Let's hope he doesn't, because I don't see that going.
You see that being a major problem.
I think he's going to know
right.
it.
I wonder why.
I think it's good. I think it's gonna be found out, and that situation is going to be a big deal. It's already been set up.
Yeah, I mean that would be why you do this.
Waiting to happen.
Happy Trails.
Happy Trails. That's so. And the poor woman that discovers Herod Fell, like she just finds piles of flesh.
It's the woman that runs the school.
The school, yeah.
Yeah,
and she loved Herod Fell.
And she locked herself up in her room for weeks after that.
I spoke ill of the man before saying
traumatizing. He was queased. He was queased.
It queased me.
He was.
Dave, who is your Coplin of the week?
I think it might be 2 weeks in a row. I'm going with Cadsuane.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep. Don't like her. Don't like the way she treats everybody. She's
smarter and she thinks she's smarter and more powerful than everyone else. And more important.
She's not answering why she showed up, which doesn't bode well.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're concerned that she might have plans opposite those of Rand's?
Oh, guaranteed.
Oh, I think that's
yeah. I think she's also probably got plans opposite of would really, really like a run-in with her and the Aiel Wise Woman. I think that would be very interesting. Which I'm sure is probably going to happen because she's not
Bear
a fan of them.
or Mullane.
Mullane, yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting little staring contest, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I don't trust her. I don't like. I don't feel like
she's cryptic. We don't know anything about her intentions at all.
Right. I don't feel like I'm not getting like dark friend vibes from her or any of that sort of thing.
Okay.
I'm just getting like I just don't.
Just the typical Aes Sedai thing. My plans are the most important plans there are.
Well, what I really feel like her is I feel a very close comparison would be Varen, I suppose.
What do you see as being the big difference between her and our dearly departed, not Swan, Moiraine?
Oh, well, Moiraine, I felt like proved herself time and time again for like
about
a way you
200
can be
years
trusted.
of living on the earth.
And there's that too. But
But weren't they both looking
bitter.
to guide Rand? I mean, it seems like Cadsuane is looking to guide Rand.
I could never see Cadsuane humiliating and humbling herself like Moiraine did.
At the end.
Doesn't matter. Even at the end, she realized that her method wasn't working and
Right.
she knew
But
something.
she started off using methods, I think, similar to what Cadsuane intends to
I don't
use.
ever think she was so bullheaded as that.
I don't think she was,
Because I think it's just a personality difference.
I don't think she was as aggressive, but I think the intention for these two women is very similar, and I think that that's story-wise why this woman is being introduced here again. Is it's been a while since we've had an Aes Sedai person trying to guide Rand, and this is the new guide.
Oh, they've all been trying to guide Rand.
Right, but none of them have planted themselves next to him as a right hand.
Well, we haven't really seen her do that yet either. So.
Right, I'm anticipating that's that's her purpose.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah, I can totally understand that.
I also don't like her.
Well, you know who I don't like? Nynaeve.
Yes, I was
And
waiting
her
for
attitude toward Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, this is bad Nynaeve, and maybe you're right, Dave. Maybe we do need some land mandragoran here to come back and temper her, soften her a little bit.
She's getting cranky because her love's away.
She is. Yeah, I mean, she's annoying Brigitte. She's annoying Elaine, it's. I understand why she's irritated with Matt, because to somebody with her values, Matt presents a lot of frustrations and challenges. But it's one thing to be frustrated with somebody. It's another thing to constantly mention how much you detest them to everyone around you when that person is around or mentioned. She's just so aggressive about it.
Yeah, and I think there's a particular reason why.
So I've had enough of it, and I'm coplining her.
And
Bong.
Adam, who was yours?
Oh, I'm agreeing with Eric here.
Oh, Nynaeve. Yeah.
Except the funny thing is, I was doing it in a different. I was saying how she feels about Matt, because what evidence do we have with them hanging out in the past where Matt was
It's all based on her.
annoying?
Well, I think it's heavily based on childhood.
But realize also,
We do
she
have
was the
evidence of
wisdom.
them
She
hanging
wasn't going
out.
to be hanging out with Matt.
No,
she was the wisdom.
She had to deal with the problems that he created
She's-
frequently.
Yeah, but he was much younger than her, and
Don't forget, she traveled with Matt all the way to the Eye of the World. She had to deal with Matt's drama with the dagger. She's been around Matt and his womanizing and gambling. I mean,
Matt created all
Has she
sorts of
talked
problems
to
with
the
his
women
with his
or were the
personality
women
and taking
upset?
that stupid dagger.
Yeah, Matt's selfish also. Was, yes, Matt has his own selfishness.
And he keeps
But-
trying to
not
leave
why
everybody
she leveled
behind.
down. That's not even why she leveled down for me this week. Why she leveled down for me this week is something that you all brought up as a positive, which I didn't think about, because all I know in this point is the chapters that we have read. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe it's going to work out, but she's just brought herself into another situation where they're coming across the fact that they're being beaten down by the fact that she's going into this circle of who knows who these Aes Sedai are, and then there are a bunch of them, and they keep
The
getting
kin, they're
stronger
not
and
Aes
stronger. They're
Sedai.
like,
Yeah.
how many are there? Seven that can do this. What if it comes to be 13?
What if it comes to be way
What do you
more
mean
than
by
that?
this?
Or way more than that? When she's bringing Elaine into the situation, when Elaine is like, "Why are we doing this?"
Oh,
Why
we
are
get a
doing
sense that
this?"
there's way more women than just 7.
Yeah.
Yes,
They got a
exactly.
farm of them.
So I don't understand why, and it goes part and parcel. The only reason why she's doing this is because she doesn't want to spend 3 days with Matt.
It's not
That's
just
the
that
only
she
reason
doesn't
why
want to
she's doing
spend time with Matt. She doesn't want Matt getting any credit for anything. That's the thing that
It's so
bothers me
annoying.
more than just like I get you don't want to spend time with somebody. You don't want to spend time with them. You don't like somebody.
You think she doesn't want him to get credit?
She says that. It's in the narration. It is in the narration that she does not want Matt to be responsible in any way for them finding the bowl.
Well, because she
It's-
wants them to be responsible for it.
Right.
That's their mission.
It's
after
very
all.
obnoxious.
I mean, they probably will ultimately be the ones who find it, but she doesn't even want Matt feeling like he guarded them or made them discovering it possible.
Yeah.
Also, they haven't spent actually enough time around Matt to understand how good he is at doing these things. So
Luck.
Do
Yeah.
you really think that she is going to be open-minded enough to realize that by
I don't.
spending time
That's-
around
I
him?
know.
But I
That's
do
why
think that once she
that's why-
recognizes something that can be used, she will use it.
Unless it's
grudgingly.
Matt. I would
No,
agree with you.
grudgingly, 'cause she's-
Unless it's Matt.
Well, you can say unless it's Matt, but she did go and apologize, so she still did it. Like I
She
said, she
did, yep.
grudgingly will do it.
She was made to do well.
Doesn't matter. She
Right.
still did it.
That's Elaine's argument.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Dave is coming around and standing up for Naive because
Well, I
never
just
thought it
see
would
both
happen.
sides of the coin with her, so I
see it.
I'm
understand what
fully
you're saying.
annoyed with her as well.
I just
but
feel like
I would also like to throw out an honorable mention of annoyance for the week. My honorable mention of Coplin is Savannah
Sure.
because of all things Savannah.
Yeah, no,
She's
other
despicable.
than being absolutely fearless, she really doesn't have any other good qualities.
She's good looking. That's it.
Yeah.
Literally it.
She yeah.
I should have made that.
Dave.
Elaine.
Elaine, okay.
Elaine leveled up for me.
Bring it.
Because she was kind of brought. For Elaine, this is also especially interesting because, she doesn't really like to humble herself much. She's daughter heir and all that sort of thing, but she will, especially with the whole toe thing, and she's trying to be more conscientious of that and try to honor her sister, Avienda and all this sort of thing. So, and then she faces the Piper. She goes up to it and has to eat crow, even though she gets really upset about it with Matt, because of Matt's, it was nothing. No big deal.
Initially he says that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be really annoying.
Right. You're trying to humble yourself, and this guy's kind of like, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though also keep in mind he just woke up and he's incredibly
terribly hungover.
groggy.
Yeah, he just wants him out of the
Hungover.
room.
So
But she did, and then just her biding her time and enough is enough. Like I loved that moment.
yeah, the little battle she goes through a lot emotionally in those 2 chapters. So I can definitely, I'm glad you brought her up. Nynaeve leveled up for me.
No.
Despite how annoyed I was by her, I did think it was a good plan to try to figure out what was going on with the kin, and without
She
that,
took a lot of beating in that too.
This group is clearly going to be important for the remainder of this book, and my guess is they're going to continue to be important. I
wonder how many there are.
But we would have never gotten any of this without Nynaeve. We would have never infiltrated this group. We wouldn't have learned anything about their capabilities. Nynaeve is smart enough to realize that there's a society here, even if she's not quite sure how it works. She realizes that they have rules by which they abide, which is a sure signifier of an organized group.
She's also the one that defends Elaine when they're getting whacked at the end by whoever's whacking them at the end.
Oh, she saves Elaine.
24.
Right. Well, that's because whoever shot the blunt arrow didn't do a very good job at aiming at her.
Who do you think that is?
It's these people who were trying to kidnap them and take them away. Yeah, they were just being robbed.
Okay, you don't think it's anything greater than that?
It absolutely could be.
I mean, it could be Carradine and all
about
that.
It could be, but I don't think Carradine is aware of them, so it would just be Carradine.
Matt, so they could have followed Matt, and by proxy,
how would they have? But Matt
or whoever this person is that observed Matt.
But remember, they're disguised when they go and visit Matt.
But
they don't
weren't
look
just
like
recently
themselves.
when they went and saw Matt at his place.
No, they were. We don't.
They weren't.
We actually don't know.
We don't know, but I'm going to go out on a very strong limb here and say they just went as themselves because they have no reason to disguise themselves at that point. They're just leaving to go visit Matt. The whole reason to disguise themselves is so Matt wouldn't know what they were doing.
I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's Carradine. If anything, it would be my guess would be it would be one of the Forsaken. But my initial impression was that this was just that this is a great moment because they've been parading around as if they don't need Matt. They can take care of themselves. They go in to talk to him, and Nynaeve is totally self-assured that this is unnecessary and they don't need him, and then they come out and they're almost robbed.
Yeah, or worse.
Right. I mean, they're going to get kidnapped,
and yet they do. And yet, at the same time, though, they did handle it themselves.
Only because somebody wasn't as good of an archer as they should have been.
Well, yeah,
it's a narrow escape.
Life, yeah.
But yeah, yes. So. Yeah, but that's absolutely right. Regardless of what happened, it's because of Nynaeve's efforts that they get out of there alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Annoying as she is.
So that was my level up. Adam, who was yours for this week?
Level up. Mine's a bad level up, and it's Carradine.
Oh.
Do we get
I didn't think he was in these chapters.
Not Carradine. Sorry.
Okay.
No, Carradine.
Samael? What's her name?
No.
Grendel?
No. The old Aes Sedai.
Oh,
Cadsuane?
Cadsuane. Yeah.
Swain.
You said Carradine, and I
Cadsuane.
got caught up with that being in my head. Yeah, Cadsuane.
Interesting.
Cadsuane. We learned so much about this person.
Yeah, she's really powerful and really important.
Yeah, there's so much. We're just going down the hallway with her, learning about all this information. And
the deference that she gets from all the other Aes Sedai.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then she just grills them to get any information, even if they say, I don't know. She grills them to get the information out of them that they're saying, I don't know, and actually realizing that they do know something about it. It's pretty nuts.
She's really smart.
I'm very scared of her.
She's a master manipulator.
She's yeah, I mean, she is a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if I am necessarily thinking that she's going to be a net negative. I don't know if she's going to be a net negative, but it's pretty scary.
Well, we don't. Yeah, she's unwilling to reveal her intentions, which is not a great sign.
Yeah,
and she's very capable. On the other hand, at this point, the only Aes Sedai that Rand is allowing near him are ones that swear fealty to him. I don't see Cadsuane doing this, so I don't see her getting close to him with any amount of time anytime soon.
Yeah,
I know, but I also feel like if Rand had her at his right-hand side, it might be great.
I agree if she was working for him, but she doesn't work for anybody.
She would want to be.
No.
Yeah, she's a rogue agent.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Jack of the Shadows. Join us in episode 16 when we'll chat about A Crown of Swords, chapters 25 through 30. Until then, may you rest in the Creator's hand.
May you know good hunting, young bull, and she's to give you many cubs.
Doviendi Sitovius again.